Welcome to Money Answers TV. I'm your host, Jordan Goodman of MoneyAnswers.com. Today we're going to find out about how you can get errors off your credit report and improve your credit score. My guest is Paul Oster, the president of Better Qualified. Paul, welcome to Money Answers TV.
Thanks for having me on, Jordan.
So how much of a problem is it today that consumers have errors in their credit reports and their credit ratings are not as good as they should be?
Well, there's all different, numbers out there about what percentage of credit reports have false, inaccurate, unverifiable information on there. I can tell you that after looking at credit reports for over a decade for our clients, it's in the 90 percentile of reports have at least one item that doesn't belong there. And a lot of times that item could be a big ticket item like a judgment or a tax lien that could have caused the consumer to drop 100 points or more. And obviously I don't have to tell you what that would do in terms of if they're shopping for a mortgage or a car, their interest rates are going to be sky high because of that point drop.
How do these errors get on there in the first place?
Well, as of July 1st, there was a program put forth by the CFPB. The credit bureaus themselves, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, have agreed to a new higher standard of reporting specifically for civil judgments and tax liens. I can tell you that those are two of the most misreported items on someone's credit report. And the problem with it is the information from the beginning is inaccurate. So you have merged files, you have fathers and sons with the same names. Think of how many John Smiths really are in the United States. So you have over 220 million credit profiles with the credit bureaus. So it's pretty easy to see how information gets mixed up on people's credit reports. Experian actually came out and said that they think 96% or higher of those items, judgments and tax liens, are not going to meet the new standards for reporting and therefore should come off of the people's credit report in the first place.
Wow.
Yeah.
What happens to people whose credit scores are lower than they should be because they've got errors on there?
Well, your scores are either going to cost or save you money every single month. We live in a credit-driven world at this point. So the cost factor could be tremendous. To give you an example, here in the Northeast, New Jersey, New York, state by state, insurance is directly tied to your credit. Property and casualty insurance. Take homeowners and auto insurance, okay? You're going to pay about 90% higher for the same coverage. Your policy and your premiums are going to be 90% higher if you have poor credit as opposed to someone who has excellent credit.
What rights do people have under federal laws to get errors off their credit reports?
So this really is the message that we like to get out to the consumers. You don't have to take it, right? So you have the Fair Credit Reporting Act, the Fair Credit Transactions Act, the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. There are lots of consumer laws that are in place that are there to protect us. And the number one thing is we have the right to know what's on our credit report. So people can go to annualcreditreport.com. That's the FTC's website that gives us all one free look at our reports every 12 months. It should be more than that, but let's take what we've been given. The only caveat there, a lot of people want to go to like these free credit report sites. I don't want to mention anybody like Credit Karma or something like that, but that's not the place to go to check your information, and certainly not the place to go to get your credit scores. Those consumer-driven sites can be vastly different than the FICO score. Unfortunately, right now, there really is only one score that's used for consumer credit, and that's your FICO score. So if you're not looking at your FICO score, or you're not looking at a report that was generated by the three repositories, you could certainly be getting some false, misleading information.
So why can't people challenge errors in their credit report on their own, and why do they need Better Qualified to do it?
Well, they don't need us. So, the second page of our contract is the federal file disclosure that says you don't have to pay a company like Better Qualified. But let's be honest, just like so many other professional services, you can do your own taxes. You can stand up and take a swing in a Major League Baseball game. You might be worse off if you try and do it yourself. And you need to be prepared for a battle. So we can educate people. Our consultation is more about information and education than anything. So the consumer might walk away and say, hey, Paul, I'm going to try and do this myself. And I will tell them how to do it, what to do, and what they can expect. But what you can expect is it's not easy. If it was easy, we'd all be in the 700 club at this point. So the credit bureaus have their own laws that protect them, and they're not very good at customer service. There's been all sorts of documentation now put forth from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the CFPB, that shows the inherent flaws associated with trying to deal with the credit bureaus. Look, this gray hair didn't come from sitting back and relaxing. It's a tough job. So can they do it themselves? Yes, they can. But they can also pay a legitimate, credible credit repair organization. We've been doing it for about 11 years now. So it's buyer beware. It should come with a referral. Check them out on the Better Business Bureau. Make sure you know who you're dealing with, and you pick them. I always tell people, beware the phone call, that says that they have your information, they're looking to help you. If you weren't referred to them or you haven't done some due diligence, you better be very, very cautious about dealing with them.
So exactly what does Better Qualified do to help people get errors off their credit report?
So we do a credit analysis on the credit report. We go over every single item with the consumer. And if there needs to be verification or validation of any of those items, that's exactly what we do. And people always say, Paul, in today's age, can't you just go online and dispute this stuff? You can, but we have found the most effective way to do this is certified signed receipt mail. It still works the best. Yes, it's a little slower, but when you're looking for results, and that's what it's really all about, that is the best. So we're going to challenge the items on someone's credit report that don't belong there, and we've been very, very successful in forcing either the original creditors, third-party collection companies, or the credit bureaus themselves in deleting this information off of people's credit reports.
So when somebody contacts Better Qualified, what kind of records and financial information should they have ready so that it makes your job easier?
So it would be great if they had a copy of their credit report from annualcreditreport.com. We will look at other credit reports, but we always, give them the caveat about the information might not be correct in the first place. So let's look at a report that's credible. It's from an accredited credit reporting agency. A lot of our clients get referred to us from banks and mortgage companies that may have already pulled a credit report, an auto dealer, and then they can share a consumer copy with their client, and then they bring that to us. We do the credit analysis. We're going to find out what items that we're going to try and have deleted off the person's credit report. We have a 6-month process. If it could happen sooner, I would do it, right? But it takes a couple of months to go back and forth with the credit bureaus. Sometimes, we hit the home run in 30 days and we'll have stuff deleted, but that's like the diet commercial. Those results are not typical. It takes a couple of months to see the success for the client, and our whole program is 6 months long.
So why is it better to go through Better Qualified than other credit enhancement companies? There's a lot of people out there probably.
Because of me. Well, there are some other credible companies out there. I'm actually part of NACSO, which is the National Association of Credit Services Organizations. We formed our own regulatory body, and we put ourselves through some ethics and standards that other companies might not. So I would say that's a great place to start, and I'm not the only one. I just happen to be one of the founding members. We've been down to Washington, D.C. We've spoken at 2 different government affairs conferences trying to champion the causes of the consumer. So we're trying to fight the fight on behalf of the consumer. And look, this is all we do. Right? So we've been doing this successfully for about 11 years. We're almost about 100% referral based. So that kind of tells you a little bit about how we treat our clients. You can't be a referral based business unless you're doing what you say you're going to do.
So what kind of results do you get for clients typically?
So we've been very, very successful at forcing the original creditors, third-party collection companies, or the credit bureaus themselves at deleting negative items off of people's credit reports or updating the statuses. One of the number one things we hear all the time is, Paul, I paid, that judgment's satisfied, that doesn't belong to me. And those are the types of things that we're going to have deleted from people's credit reports.
What difference does it make in people's financial lives to clean up all these errors and have their credit score be high as it can possibly be?
So again, the credit score itself is either going to cost or save you money on a monthly basis. And interest rates, insurance premiums are directly tied to your credit scores. Getting a job, it's about 85% of all Fortune 500 companies right now are pulling credit reports on job candidates. So all other things being equal, the job candidate that doesn't have derogatory information on their credit report is going to get the job over the person that has poor credit. Dating sites, literally, it affects so much of our lives today. And the problem is that the credit bureaus really have been doing a pretty poor job at maintaining and updating those records. And again, not everybody's a big fan of the CFPB, but I happen to be, because they've set their sights on the credit bureaus and saying, wait a second, how can you operate with that margin of error? And it's much larger than they actually admit to. When so much of our lives are impacted by the credit score, it needs to be much closer to 100% accuracy as opposed to 90% inaccuracy.
So Paul, if somebody wants to find out more about what Better Qualified can do for their credit, how can they contact you?
So here's the great thing. We've made it very easy for the consumer. They can go to our website where we have a live chat button just to start the process. Again, the consultation and credit analysis is absolutely free. So visit us at tourdecredit.com or call us at 732-413-8627.
Thanks so much, Paul. You're really going to help a lot of people.
Thanks for having me on.
So if you want to get errors off your credit report and improve your credit score, check out Better Qualified to see if they can help you. For Money Answers TV, I'm Jordan Goodman.